just an incredible tank player as well. Maybe for someone who plays on console, maybe one of the better tank players I've ever seen.
So Dex, if we like root against them, do we get fired? Like, do we have the script written? Headrammer didn't DM me beforehand about what to say, so I guess it's all right if we kind of cheer for both squads as we head into this grand final. But we got to be careful. We don't want to get axed from the CGL. Headrammer though, kind of off-rolling. He's usually a support, now playing on the tank role, and D.Va, Orisa have been the kind of the crutches for him moving forward throughout this tournament. So I wouldn't be surprised to see those bans targeted out in the future. This backline though, with Hippie and Ant, very comfortable working together. They're very mobile as well. So this is something that I'm going to be looking for them to facilitate the team. But Husky, this guy, clutch play extraordinaire. You can see him deadlift with some of these ultimates that come out.
Speaking about rooting for any of these teams, I have to technically plead the fifth on anything about that for a reason that me and you talked about beforehand, and maybe if you go look at the team sheet for Shoes Production, you might understand why, but no, just joking aside here, this should still be a very good game. Even though I'm listed as a coach for Shoes Production, trust me, they do not want to listen to my opinions for a good reason.
Well, they'll listen to Hunter Dane's reasons instead, so I know he will be watching and maybe giving him some coaching on the side, but we'll see if they need it. Like we said, they have not dropped a single game throughout the entirety of the season thus far. They're looking to continue that momentum forward, but Unwoke Yaoi gonna look to put a stop to their plans. We'll see when these teams are getting ready. I think everybody's gearing up for it, Dex. I know you are too.
Yeah, waiting on one player who just had to go use the bathroom to come back in. So once they're here, we will get started with this one here. But you have to remember, like I said, when these two teams met in week 2, that was the closest that Shoes Production Crew got to actually losing a game this season. It went the distance. And I remember talking with Headrammer and Hippie after that game ended in the preceding days, and they just said, like, hey, they thought they were kind of lucky to win that one. They thought they played horrible on some maps, but on one of those maps they played horrible. They were able to just scratch and claw their way to a victory there. But still, you're looking at a team in Unwoke Yaoi enthusiasts who have really good players on it, especially when you look at it, like I said, a lot of former CGL champions, a lot of good players as well. One player representing their country in the World Cup, another player who is really good in Faceit League as well. So you're looking at a team who's looking to get revenge, while another team just trying to keep the momentum going. But I will tell you this one thing about Shoes Production Crew. This is a team that, I mean, they're happy they're winning, but they could necessarily, I'm not going to say not care if they lose, but they are a vibes team, and right now it has been working out for them very much.
Hey, I'm the vibes guy on my teams. You always need that one person that can keep everybody's heads in it if you are feeling down or your momentum's not with you. Get everybody to kind of get back into it. So I'm glad they have a lot of those vibes people on their squad. But I'm going to be rooting for the Unwoke Yaoi enthusiasts. I love a good underdog story. And I kind of like that this team name is so like weirdly contradictory, I think, and I kind of love it. I had to actually have you explain what some of these words meant because I'm just that old, Dex. We won't say it on stream, but if you want to look it up, you certainly can.
I've had to explain to too many people this year what Yaoi is. I don't know what that says about me. But yeah, it looks like we're about to be heading into our first map of the night, so please. But it should be a really good one here again. Best of 5, even though it is a grand finals, it's not a best of 7 up until the end of season playoffs. And with that, we'll be heading into our first map of the night now of Nepal. We'll be starting out on Village, maybe the most dive map here when it comes to this point, especially just with the high ground that are around the points. You could see something like D.Va, could see something like Winston come out here. Wrecking Ball, Doomfist not off the table as well, but you're seeing right there on the left side of your screen what we will not be seeing this map. No Lucio, no Sigma. So again, if you want to play Poke, that kind of leads you maybe to going something like the Ramatra with Poke Brawl Hybrid that right there, or something a little bit more pokey in the Domina, who right now still very strong, but I think you're starting to see teams really figure out how to slow them down here. And coming out of the gate, well, it looks like Unwoke Yaoi enthusiasts going a little bit dive style, while Shoes Production Crew, they want to run at you. They want to run at your face.
And that is with on the back of the Malga. But we've been tricked before, friend. I'm not going to settle anything until we see them actually step out of the spawn room door. Because as you mentioned, dive very prevalent on this submap. And Headrammer's been playing a lot of D.Va. Maybe trying to throw a little wrench into things by going with the Malga to start. And it looks like they will be on it as both teams using the Symmetra to get into the point first.
Yeah, and you see Ant coming out here on the Juno. Again, that's what I said here. No Lucio, so if you want to have any speed, it would be the Juno coming out here, but that speed ring on a little bit of a cooldown. Nice ice wall coming out there from Dan pretty early on to section off a little bit of the Unwoke Yaoi enthusiast team away, but still, these teams are kind of poking out the moment while Headrunner goes charging in after the Kiriko.
And he's trying to poke down somebody, the rest of the team following up, but they are going down. Hippie left to the dust. Now it will be the D-Mech, which is nicely done. The dive comes through. They get a 1-for-1 trade, but you lost Hippie. That's gotta feel bad.
It's not actually the worst case scenario there. You got that one pick on the Hippie who maybe over-aggressed themselves in that fight, but you get the first point cap off, and you won the war there. You lost Hippie, but you got rid of the mech there for Cloud Lemon, and you also left them alive, so they're still trying to get that mech back. That's only going to slow down Unwoke Yaoi enthusiasts here. However, you might see a little speed up a little bit now, knowing that the Mei is gone. That ice wall, that vital ability right now for Shoes Production Crew is out of the way for a moment.
Okay, so Danik, he's got to waddle his way back to the point, so a member up is the side of the Shoes Production Crew, but make that a member down as Cloud Lemon gets sent to the heavens. Hippie just charging over everyone, Headrammer to boot. They're finding Wubs here on the high ground, has the bomb available, probably not wise to expend it at this moment, and then Danik says, yeah, head back to the base.
Yeah, Bob online, same thing with the Tidal Blast and ready for as well for end here. Ant will have the orbital going in this fight, and you're going to see a lot of the other ultimates come online during it, other than the bomb and probably the blade for Yaoi. But right now, Shoes Production Group in a really good spot right here. They're keeping control of the point, and this is what this Malgo really does here for Headrammer and this entire Shoes Production Group. It allows them to take space and allows Headrammer to really traverse from point A to point B very, very quickly here. And that's going to be one thing we see constantly as long as they stick on this Malgo.
And I love them just aggressing on this high ground, staying up there, and then finally dropping as you're forcing Unwoke to get onto the point. And that's exactly where Shoes wants them to be. The tide is changing for them. Let's see if anybody gets knocked over. The Bob, he's charging through, though. He wants to find some eliminations. Wubs being dove upon, takes a chain gun to the face and goes back to the gray screen. Finally, Headrammer, though, cut down the side. It's been a pure bloodbath inside the shrine.
Dan gonna be able to turn down Kairos right there, and now it's just a little bit of a cleanup here as they're trying to get rid of kick. So eventually Dan will be able to find them as well. And even with Headrammer falling there, it's not the worst case scenario. And you look over at Shoes Production Crew, all 4 ultimates ready to go. The only thing that was invested in that last fight there was the Orbital Ray. While you got the Blizzard, you got the Tidal Blast out from the other side right there for Unwoke Yaoi enthusiasts. And now they're in a little bit of a bad spot here because Cloud Lemon doesn't have bomb, and you already see the Blizzard coming out here.
Oh, what a cheeky play. We've seen it before to secure the objective. Cloud not able to get there in time, and it will be 100-0 on this sub-map. Firmly in the lead, Shoes Production Crew.
Yeah, and again, it felt like, if you're asking me, Unwoke Yaoi enthusiasts did not necessarily expect to see the Malga come out here. And I feel like right now, Malga not as strong as he was when he first came out. You look back maybe a year and a half ago where Malga was, well, you had to play him or you were going to lose. But again, there's still the place for the Malga, and I think this composition that Shoes is playing is built around Headrammer, just being able to take space. And really, the only times anyone kind of died there with both Hippie and Headrammer was, hey, maybe they overextended themselves, put themselves in a bad spot, and got punished for it. But still, that Malga is just enough of a presence there to be able to kind of keep it up, keep your team up, even if you're down one. Remember, Malga does have 2 hearts, so technically you could consider him 2 people. At the moment, you look over at Unwoke Yaoi enthusiasts, no big swaps from them. Wubs did swap back over to the, or sticking with the Mei here now. I think it works out a little bit better because you want to be able to section off Headrammer as they make these charges in, but you need to be able to clean them up as well. That Cardiac Overdrive is going to be able to save him in a lot of these situations.
And I'm going to be looking at this tank foray, right? How they dance on this point, because the D.Va, you've got the defense matrix that can hold on for a little bit, but as soon as that's done, just dive right on them, stamp them into the ground, and then blow them up. But speaking of being blown up, Husky gets skinned and sent back to the gray screen. That's good opening elimination. Hippie now found out, sliced into smithereens. Headrammer forced to go on to the point, trying to take a couple people with him before he goes down, and the endothermic blaster will do just that.
Actually, a really great fight there by Yaoi. They did everything right. The ice wall from Wubs actually, I think, was enough of a distraction for Shoes Production Crew that you saw Cloud Lemon actually flank around the outside. Husky actually tried to flank to get a good angle on them, take that off angle, but Cloud Lemon just charged them down. There was nowhere that that Husky could go, leading that first pick, and you saw kind of fall like dominoes from there. A really good fight for Unwoke Yaoi, especially after that first point was a little bit lackluster for them here now. But if you're Shoes Production Crew, ice wall coming out, get a section Headrammer off from the rest of their team, but could quickly be knocked down.
Oh, and this is a sneaky play from Cloud Lemon. Gets a good dive in, takes Dan down. He's looking for a double and finds it. The D.Va dive to perfection. Nothing Hippie could do to defend.
Well, Hippie will find one, but that's going to be basically the only thing that Shoes Production Crew gets this entire fight. And you'd have, I believe, finished up that fight with 2 picks, the final 2, most importantly. But you look over at the ultimates right now, we're almost seeing the exact same thing we saw last point, but just flip teams. Headrammer now having to match the D.Va, recognizing that the Mauga is not as strong as it was last point. You look over at Yaoi, though. They have almost all 5 ultimates ready to go because Headrammer made the swap here. You're really only going to have potentially 1, maybe 2 ultimates for Shoes Production Crew here. Right now, this is a fight where, honestly, you might be going into it expecting to lose it, but you just want to get ultimates out from the other side.
Yeah, this is going to be precarious for sure for the Sada Shoes Production Crew going up against a treasure troves of ultimate. And we'll start out with the Kitsune Rush and couple that with the Blade. He is speeding forward. Can he get bursted down? Doesn't look like it. A good deflect to keep him alive. Trying to hack through some of the defenses. He will not be able to do so, but sectioned off is Danik, and he will fall from there. 1 member down from Shoes Production Crew. There is this economical push they're doing. They got 2 ultimates out, but they can't waste any more time.
You will lose Ant here. You're in a really peculiar situation right now if you're Shoes Production Crew, because you really can't back out because you look at the percentage right now on the point. Rally, though, coming out from Hippie. They're going to try to push us forward, but Wub's going to respond with the Blizzard.
Oh, that's huge. Even the rally is keeping them alive, getting them, but can they reach the point? Somebody is on it. I believe it's Danik, who's changed over to the Tracer. That's exactly what they're there to do, but a bash to the face will stun him up, but not knock him down, and falls over. Cloud Lemon trying to dance and dodge all over the point. Just a few more members to clean up. Headrammer will be bashed against the wall, pushed off the point, and the cap will come through in overtime.
Good bounce back here from Unwoke Yaoi enthusiast. Shoes Production Crew, I mean, again, the Mauga, it has to play, it has its play style, and it really kind of lost there, especially once they weren't able to get the first cap, and you kind of saw it struggling. Headrammer made a swap, however, we didn't necessarily see what necessarily that D.Va would look like in the hand of Headrammer in that round, because I want to be honest, Unwoke Yaoi enthusiast did a really good job of dragging that last fight out. They really did. I thought when we saw 2 ultimates come out there from Unwoke Yaoi enthusiast, the Blade and the Kitsune Rush pretty early on in that point, in that fight, that you would see Shoes Production Crew's backup, which granted they almost did, but you mentioned it, Danik was split off from the rest of their team. They tried throwing Blizzard out there to maybe not only keep themselves alive, but force out a really quick re-engage there by Shoes Production Crew. And once they found nothing with that, they were kind of in limbo, and especially with the percentage already being at like 85% at that point, and losing Hippie, you were in a really rough spot there. But now you see Wubs getting off the May, going over to the Emre instead. Dan doing the exact same things here, and Husky getting off the Soj for the first time, going over to the Echo.
Ooh, very interesting, because it's like the sky is kind of captured here. There's a roof in the temple, so it's going to be difficult for Husky to really be shifty out here. But we'll see how he gets it done. I like the switches over to the Emery. We'll be seeing a lot of frag grenades and siphon blasters being pelted through. Everybody working on this choke, and maybe if someone gets whittled down, that's a nice off angle, and the bird's wings have been clipped. Opened up the kill board is Wubs.
Yeah, and look at what that does already. Shoes Production just force them back because they cannot engage into anything here without Husky. Now, though, it's going to be difficult for them even to get out of this choke, because you're already going to see the Yaoi squad here just kind of poke up at both choke points right here, and force Shoes Production to try to figure out which way to go, because do you go after the tank side, do you go after the support side here with Kixo as well? Looks like, though, they're regrouping and still kind of just poking themselves out here. Husky, though, expecting someone to be over here, but looks like they're going to go after Kixo.
Can they find him? No. The Cybernetic Ninja, ever so shifty. I do love the change in the backline for Shoes and Production Crew, because I feel like the Brig Juno wasn't getting enough healing there, but the Kiriko is definitely helping him out. Husky bullying them through. They take down Cloud Lemon. Will that be enough to cap the point? Yes, they're moving on to it.
Yeah, there's really nothing that this Unwoke Yaoi enthusiast squad can do without their D.Va. Cloud Lemon got taken out pretty early on as well, or after they got DMAX. So that was a perfect situation there for them. They're just going to regroup here very quickly, give up a little percentage here, because you look at the ultimates coming up to you. Kitsune Rush is ready for both sides. I would honestly expect to see both of them come out at the same exact time. Wub's Override Protocol, though, might be something that really turns the tides of this fight, if especially, like, they're getting these off angles right here and almost taking care of Danik. That would have been a huge pick early on.
Oh, and now the dive is in here, and the helixes are crossed. The Kitsune rushes laid upon the battlefield. The Override Protocol says hello to ya, and it finds a double kill. Oh my goodness, the virus taking hold of everybody, and the point flipped for Unwoke enthusiasts.
granted, you got 2 ultimates out there if you're shooting production crew, but you're still looking at yourself here. You have your own override, you have your own dupe, you have your own bomb, but you look over at the other side. Blade, bomb, rally, about to be online for them. And still kind of lagging behind, but should have it here momentarily. But this is a big fight for shooting production crew, because if you lose this one, you're kind of putting yourself in that last fight territory where you have to make some desperation moves here and some desperation calls as well. Does someone make a swap? But you're already starting to see Unwoke Yaoi start to back up a little bit and take those angles again, especially how Wub's been playing on this map so far. This has been a really, really great showing for them.
And you can see how Husky is playing so defensively. They don't know how to get out there, but it's very precarious. And Danik goes for the overriding protocol, finds the blade and shuts it down. And there they go, all red in the kill feed. Shoes production crew. Whoa, what? Are they dead? Are they not? Yes, okay, they're all dead, and it will be Unwoke to hang on.
I'm surprised we're not seeing more swaps come out from Danik, the only one making a swap over to the Tracer, probably get that touch, but I would maybe expect to see Headrunner come back out on that Malga here. Husky will use that duplicate, go over to the Diva here now, but Cloud Lemon has the bomb as a remaking tool, but someone needs to touch.
The touch does come through from Headrammer, so the overtime wick will burn. I was wondering who the dupe would go on to. Makes sense to have a double Diva party. Still a lot of work to do for the production crew. They have to hang on. They haven't been able to flip it just yet. So the overtime wick, if they step off for even a moment, will not go their way. There, the flip does come through, but the lives are not coming through. The Yaoi enthusiasts, they are still looking for blood. They find a couple of shots, but Ant is gigantic here with a 2K.
Yeah, now Headrunner needs to back out, keep themselves in that mech, because if they lose it early on, it could just be currents, not only for the fight, but for the map as well. You look over at Unwoke Yaoi, they're going to come in with a bomb. They're going to have Kitsune Rush here pretty soon. Hippie, though, going to have another bomb, or Kitsune Rush here. Headrunner, though, quickly built up to their second bomb of this map. Cloud has been holding on to theirs for a while now, just because these fights have gone on so long. They haven't had the good opportunity to use it as a remaking tool. That's allowed Shoes Production Crew now to be in a really good spot, as this could now potentially be final fight. And we see another little bit of a drawn-out fight here, which is looking like what Unwoke Yaoi Enthusiast is trying to do.
Yeah, it's an ultimate economy battle, just poking and prodding, trying to get some of those percentages in your favor before you decide to trigger it. I mean, it's tied up 1-1. Whoever wins this will get the map win and be in a good position to win the finals. It's a first of 3. The Kitsune Rush unleashed to crisscross once again, and immediately Cloud Lemon rushes forward and takes down Danik. They needed that pulse bomb as their saving grace. The battle, though, not yet over. Rally to me is the call from End, looking to put an end to this situation. Wubs, a beautiful set of tracking ability. The overriding protocol, just a cherry on top as they clean up the kills here in overtime.
Bump coming out there from Dan will not necessarily do much. They will get one more touch here to prolong this as long as they can, but eventually Wubs will take care of them. Husky could get one more touch here, but it's going to be bullied away. And Unwoke Yaoi Enthusiasts, after honestly getting stomped at the first point, come back and look like the much better team to the final 2 points to take our first map of these grand finals.
Whew. I mean, sometimes just like us, we had to shake off the rust a little bit, get our stretches in, our water, and then we're feeling locked and loaded. So maybe they just needed that first sub map to do just that, but they're looking clean with it in terms of how they're laying their abilities, how they're rotating with their tank. Their dive burst is just immaculate. So well done from them, but still a long way to go here. Remember, this is a first of 3 grand finals.
Yeah, a long way to go here, but right now, if you're Shoes Production Crew, what was the big problem there? I don't know if it was just how Wubs was playing those off angles, especially on that Emery, finding a lot of value. If the Diva pressure there coming out from Cloudland was a little bit too much for Headrammer to necessarily match. It felt like that first one, like you said, was just shaking the rust off. They played Shoes Production Crew played a Malga, which I don't think you really expect to see. Like I said, Malga still has a place in the meta, but it's not something you see very often. And maybe they stuck on a little bit too long when we went over Shrine. But still, Malga could really work. However, it was a good job there by Cloud Lemon and the rest of Unwoke Yaoi Enthusiasts to shut that down very, very quickly, forcing the mirror, which I felt like they were pretty confident they were going to come out on top of most of the time.
I think for me, it does come down to the hit scan duo for Shoes Production Crew, right? We haven't seen the echo really too much from Husky. They play a lot of those hit scan characters instead, the Ash, the Soldier, etc. So it was a little, I was like scratching my head a little bit. Not that Echo's a bad character by any means, but just didn't seem to be the right fit at that moment, right? And then Wubs he was like, oh, that's free kills for me. Thank you very much. And then you get that ultimate charge, and then you can help out in the battles that ensue. So a couple adjustments there. I'm sure the production crew will need your coaching, maybe Huntertain as too, in between these maps to see how they can make some adjustments. Not out of it by any means, but I love what Yaoi is doing, playing so aggressive in this one. They're out for revenge.
I don't think me coaching this team right now would be the best thing for them, because I think every player on that team is significantly better than me. But we do know this. Next map of the series, not necessarily a big surprise when you give teams the options to make a choice. We're going to Kings Row for our second map of the night. And you look at this map, it's very much known as a brawl map when the game first came out. But ever since then, especially with the subtraction of a tank, or subtraction of a player, basically, it's become kind of an all-rounder map. You could play dive, you could play rush, poke, brawl. A lot of teams still gravitate towards the brawl, but again, you saw, I think, 2 really good D.Va players there the last map. It would not surprise me if you see D.Va come back out here again.
And it makes sense that Kings Row is also the pick. Shoes production crew, they've selected this second in the map rotation each and every finals match thus far. They've won 3-0, they've won 4-3 in their respective matches, so it feels like when they're down, this is the map they want to go to get that momentum forward. However, like you've mentioned, most folks have played this map a million bazillion times in all sorts of iterations, so Unwoke Yaoi enthusiasts will not be deterred by this map selection. They probably have something cooked up for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, like you said, everyone's played this map a lot of times. Everyone probably knows what to play on it. And here, and like I said, D.Va definitely could be an option still for both these two teams. Shoot production crew, though, I mean, especially with bans coming up here, it's going to be interesting who they go after, because do they go after the D.Va? I could see them actually going after the Emre here, because I think that's where you really start to see on that last point, this Unwoke Yaoi enthusiast team really start to take over just with how Wubs was playing them.
I tend to agree, and if I am Unwoke Yaoi, I'm going to ban the D.Va, because I'm sure, you know, a Cloud can play so many other characters. We've seen the Sigma, the Malga, the Zarya, etc. He doesn't necessarily need to play the D.Va, so fine, take that away from Headrammer, make him uncomfy as
necessarily so very good, especially in close quarters maps where her shove does get that stun if it hits a wall. And hey, when you look at the majority focus in on the tanks here, trying to slow down Cloud Lemon, maybe still force them over to that D.Va a little bit more, expecting that, like, hey, we know they're really good on this hero, but we believe that we can beat them on it as well.
And this is also kind of a save. Knowing that you think Yaoi might ban the D.Va, you ban a tank so that you can't ban a second tank. They have to go to one of the other roles. And kind of saving Headrammer a little bit there too. So it makes sense. There's some multiple facets to the pick and ban phase. Unwoke Yaoi enthusiasts will go with the Mei. Make sure Danik and company cannot use the Ecologist.
Yeah, and Mei, especially on this map, makes a lot of good sense. You look at the choke point on the first point of the map, Mei's Ice Wall can block that entire thing off, and you saw a lot of teams do that in the past, where they just would play the Mei, Ice Wall off the tank, and just try to rinse and repeat that as many times as they possibly could. And you could also just see it in the second point. Blizzard's still very strong. You saw both the teams really play Mei a lot there that first map, and you could definitely tell that Unwoke Yaoi enthusiasts really did not want to play it, but Wubs, when they did play it, played it very, very good. However, going into our second map, looks like we will not have a single change across either of the two teams here. Both these teams, again, a lot of subs. Trust me, a lot of subs for both these two teams here. So I believe these 5 or these 10 players really did play good in that first map, but no reason to necessarily make any swaps just yet.
Yeah, makes sense for me, especially in a grand finals. You kind of want to put your best folks out there. If you do have a specialist like Nobody, who plays Wrecking Ball extremely well, wait for a Wrecking Ball kind of map and then sub them in to kind of change the momentum. But we head in now to Kings Row for our game number 2 of this grand finals for the NA Masters division. I'm excited for this one. I don't think we saw who got the first, who's on defense or who's attacked first here, Dex. What do you think?
I'm going to take a guess that it's Shoes attacking first and Unwoke Yaoi defending first here. Not because I see it right now, but I don't think we saw a side swap there. But, I mean, coming out of the gate, we're kind of already seeing what to expect here from Unwoke Yaoi on the defense side. Like I said, D.Va probably was going to be the way to go there for Cloud Lemon. They look very good on it. Wubs going over to the Hanzo. I feel like I've started to see Hanzo a little bit more here as of late. The one-shot potential is really good. However, just the sonar arrow, especially on this map, is very, very vital for a lot of good information on how teams are going to be trying to play around or just flank. You look over at Shoes Production Crew. I think you're mostly seeing everything here other than Husky. I think they're going to probably shoot out a sonar arrow and then go back down and swap over to something else.
Yeah, through my notes, my research did not see Husky on Hanzo of recently. But okay, is it gonna change? Okay, there it is. June is our observer for the day, so taking care of all of the images you are seeing on your screen, folks. So we thank them for their service. But the Divas are gonna be clashing right through the choke point here. Headrammer taking a lot of space.
I thought Husky was going to make the swap. I mean, they were in the position to make the swap. They didn't move for a little bit. But, oh, Wubs taking out Hippie early on. The Hanzo for Unwoke Yaoi doing good already.
And you said that one-shot potential is crazy, and he finds himself a 2K. Takes down his opposite number. This guy is a Hanzo aficionado, and he gets it done.
And right now, if you're shooting Duck True, this gives you an early opportunity, maybe go right back to the drawing board, and you already see that Headrammer going back over to the Malga immediately. They understand that this is a comp that you can really run on if you're Shoes Production Crew. So you want to be able to try to force back Unwoke Yaoi just a little bit here. Danik going over to the more swaps. The Widow and sticking with it as well. Headrammer now going over to the Zarya instead. I like this. They want to try to slow down Cloud Lemon.
Okay. Shoes Production Crew maybe scratching their heads a little bit, but if I play pubs, which I certainly do, Zarya beats Diva any day of the week, just laser beam through the defensive matrix. But they have to keep the Zarya alive, so look for Hippie and Ant to really stick close to the tank as they're moving their way through. Wub seems to be the target, but he's backing out here, very close to the Twin Dragons.
Yeah, they got that pretty fast. Kixo as well, already almost has Blade. You can see this Unwoke Yaoi and Enthusiast team just throw out a couple ultimates here pretty early on, and Shoes Production really have no response for Husky, though. Going to be able to find Wubs. Hippie, though, will be the trade.
That was great. Yes, a nice dive through. They need to find another if they want to crack this point open, but Headrammer bashed against the wall once more. Ant to follow him, and the defense stands strong for the side of Unwoke Yaoi.
Yeah, and it seems like right now Shoes Production is in this weird spot with this comp. They're trying to have Dan kind of stay behind, maybe find someone on an off angle, while Headrammer and the rest of the team going forward. And you even see more swaps. Danik now going over to the Tracer, Headrammer going back over to that Malga here. But you're running out of time here, especially to build up ultimates. And you look over the other side now, Philly. All 5 ultimates about to be online.
Ooh, yeah, the check marks glistening, and the Kitsune Rush will be unleashed first, and the rest of the team will speed right after. 2 fall over off of 1 ultimate. Massive economy in the way of Unwoke Yaoi. They hold once again.
That time bank is not your friend anymore if you're Shoes Production Crew, and especially with only 1 ultimate being invested by Unwoke Yaoi, they're in a great spot to hold. Shoes Production Crew coming up to 3 ultimates, and now you already see Headrunner charging in. They're going to force that backline away, but now you see them coming right back in with the rally.
Kitsune is certainly guiding them, but the Twin Dragons cut through it all. Now the Blade of epic proportions looking to make some sushi out here. Wubs will deny the ultimate once again. This Archer is raining arrows from above. Make it 2 for the kid. This guy, the MVP.
And right now, I mean, if you're Shoes Production Crew, you have to get back into the spawn room. Hippie trying to find their way back. You look at the time bank here. You basically just invested everything you had into that fight. You lose Danik as well, but Cloud Lemon, the only person with an ultimate right now for Unwoke Yaoi. Dan's going to be the only person I think that really builds up an ultimate here for Shoes Production Crew. Headrammer, I don't think will necessarily live long enough to build up to a cage fight here, especially with only half a minute left to go. And losing Husky again early, you're just going to have to go back and wait for them to come back in.
This guy, Wubs, getting the dubs for his team. A Pulse Bomb, we know it can change the course of history, but Eden, oh my gosh, denied from Cloud Lemon. He'll be the only one with an ultimate available as we reach the 10-second mark. Kidzo, he is joking around with them. He knows he can go in. He's looking for the prime target. We've got the final 5 seconds. A touch needs to come through for the side of Shoes Production Crew, but it won't happen as Ant gets squashed. Danik finally able to get a elimination on their side, but will it be enough? A Kitsune Rush from the backline facilitates Lemon forward, and the Dragons are hungry, and they're munching their way through. Dubs with a triple kill to end this match.
I mean, if you're Shoes Production Crew, there's one thing you can be happy about with that final fight. You at least got a tick, so you give yourself a win condition here now. But honestly, look over at the entirety of Unwoke Yaoi enthusiasts. They played that point perfectly. They played the defense perfectly. Shoes Production Group just kept on running into the same wall over and over and over again, and they really didn't have a good response for it. And it seemed like they were all on the different ideas. They weren't kind of playing as a team. They were playing split, which, again, I understand that might be what you're going for with that composition. But when you swap over to the Mauga, you kind of need to have everyone be running down with your Mauga there, especially when you went after the back line and didn't find Kairos or End in any of those engagements right there. Unwoke Yaoi played that one perfectly, and now all they really need to do is win a fight, and they're already on to championship point.
Oof, okay. Unwoke Yaoi, they are woken up for sure. This revenge match for them going their way. They just need that one fight, as you mentioned, get one tick on the board, a mountain to climb for Shoes Production Crew to get a true full hold here, Dax. They cannot let a single member through this choke. For me, once again, it is the DPS line for Shoes Production Crew. They seem like they just don't know how to work together. Like, do we go this? Do we go this? They've constantly making changes, and with that, they're not getting those impactful ultimates online in time to really crack open the defense. So let's see if they stick to it here with the Bastion on defense.
And going over to the Cat now.
Oh, no.
It's going to be really interesting to see who they pick up here. But at the moment, I mean, Unwoke Yaoi enthusiasts, they played such a good round that last round. They have a fight or two that they can kind of throw out there and say, like, hey, we're going to do something funny. But no, they immediately go right back over to the Kiri break. They want to take this seriously. They want in this map very, very quickly, it seems.
And they could go for like one or two economic pushes, get all 5 ultimates online, and then just win one fight clean and get the tick. So we'll see if that's their strategy, but they make a nice rotation into the back room there. All members alive on through it. Cloud Lemon, the first to step on the point, a very precarious position for them, but the healing is Sublime, allowing them to survive. They find Danik on the flank once more. The Bastion dismantled. Now they know they have the rest of the folks in their sights. One by one, they will fall, and they're pushed off the point, not even a touchdown. It will be Unwoke Yaoi enthusiasts to take game 2.
That was my fear, especially when you saw how they were ramming. That was my fear that what would happen, especially when you saw the entirety of Unwoke Yaoi enthusiasts start to rotate into that back room right there, try to get on the high ground. You saw, and you did see Shoes Production do the right thing, kind of rotate here into a hotel lobby. But it just didn't end up working out for them. It was a little bit of a fake, a little bit of a quick play there by Unwoke Yaoi enthusiasts, just to kind of quickly go onto the point, because they understood what the situation was. All they needed to do was win one fight, and getting rid of Dan pretty early on, that's a big source of damage, and probably the main source of damage that Shoes Production was really looking for there in that round. So once they were gone, you saw them there. All 4 or 5 members of that team just went straight onto the point, ready to take a fight.
Just look more coordinated. Unwoke Yaoi enthusiasts. They are ecstatic to be here in the grand final, and they are showing their stuff. I love the way they are target prioritizing each and every member. We know we're going for Danik first, then we're finding Lucio, then we're going here, then we're going here. Very coordinated in their efforts. Well, folks, we still have some more Overwatch action for you, but before we get to that, we're headed to a short break. We'll see you on the other side.
esports, trying to find what angle they can, trying to find somebody out of position.
We're gonna go through on this. Oh, what a roll. White gonna go in.
It's going to be a really, really interesting one.
Oh my god. All of this competition could be so damn close, so I cannot wait for us to finally decide who's going to be the champion. We are expecting some chaos, some great moments.
A beast mode has killed 3. Only gonna really need that rampage, so it's gonna clear it out. Santi gonna get themselves a big old 4K. Oh. Santi's getting rid of 3, clearing out the house.
That is crazy.
Nunji actually kills 3 people.
This team feels entirely different on this faster composition. Now Saga before he's hanging around, getting onto the high ground. Pulse bomb's gonna stick under Leaky. You're not gonna be able to survive it at the end of the game. Blue manages to find a 3K.
Rio shoving this Ana into a corner. Woo! One more for the road for Rio.
That is all signs go. Melophobia with 3. Melophobia start the fight. They'll end the fight.
Oh my god.
Beagle Bus, they have to play aggressively into this energy, popping off in a moment where you needed just that. Ruby in that backline. Oh, the flick. Looking for it. Oh my goodness. The 4th one as well. Do they get the ace? They get the ace.
Welcome back, CGL. You are watching the grand finals for Season 17 mid-season tournament for the NA Masters Division. We have the Unwoke Yaoi Enthusiasts versus the Shoes Production Crew. And right now, Unwoke Yaoi Enthusiasts, they are running through this matchup, Dex. They are up 2-0.
Yeah, and this is a much different series than when these two teams last met all the way back in week 2. It was a back and forth series where, hey, you looked at it, it's almost a little bit of deja vu. They played Nepal back in week 2 and it ended 2-1 in favor of Unwoke Yaoi. Then they bring it over to Kings Row. However, that's a little bit of the difference here. Unwoke Yaoi lost that map 3-1 there, so already rewriting the history right now, looking for some revenge, especially going into what is the final map pick here for Shoes Production Crew, which they made the same map pick when they met back in week 2 as their final one.
Other flash excel on. This was their exclamation point in the series back in week 2. They're looking for it to be the one that gives them the momentum for the reverse sweep here in the grand finals. I'm very curious now about the bans. Let's pull up the screen here, Blizzard, and see what we've got. Shoes Production Crew, the first to take some.
I don't know. You want to get yourself back in the series. Diva might be the right way to go, but Philly, has there been any other hero that's really showed
String head rammer?
I mean, they could also go after a DPS hero here, but most of the DPS heroes that you've been out something else, maybe like the Zarya, if you think Headrammer might be able to swap over to that at some point this map and be able to shut you down.
It could very well be. I mean, we haven't seen Vendetta at all. I know she's been hit with the nerf hammer time and time and time and time again, but still could be pretty strong, especially with the Brig off the
bans in this series so far. And we talked about it, especially while we were waiting for the bans selections to come in. Shoes Production has really favored that tank line. It kind of tells you how important they think that it is to be banning out something on that tank line, going up against a tank like Cloud11. Well, Unwoke Yaoi enthusiasts, I think they've been making very smart bans. Again, Lucio map 1 was probably the safest ban, but still, you've been seeing Shoes Production play Lucio throughout the entire series so far, or after that, and Mei map 2 made a lot of sense, since Dan on map 1 made that Mei look really good.
Yeah, so now they go into map 3, no Malga, no Brig. We'll head into the rosters and see if there be any swaps, any substitutions, Dex. Teams are rolling it with their original squads.
Yeah, I mean, right now, if you're Unwoke Yaoi enthusiast, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. This lineup's been doing everything for you this entire series. Shoes Ducks crew, on the other hand, I and try to make this into that 5-map series that, coming into it, I really expected to see.
Me as well. We were talking about it in the green room. A very close match, but Unwoke Yaoi enthusiasts have made it anything but, just dominating each and every contest. They have one more. I know they're all cracking their knuckles, hot in their seats, ready to get this one done and dusted. But Shoes Production crew, one final lifeline, one life preserver left in the boat for them to hang on to. Let's see if they can get it done.
Looks like we might have forgotten the bans here. Yeah, and also one quick thing I'm seeing right there. I don't know if you caught it. Husky was playing tank and Headrammer had gone over to the DPS line there for Shoes Production crew. So we might be seeing a little bit of a role swap here for them now, unless it's just a little bit of spawn hijinks, which does happen from time to time. But still, again, the Malga and the Brig ban coming out here, I think these are probably by far maybe the 2 best bans of the night, because I think Brig has been doing very, very well for Unwoke Yaoi enthusiasts. And the Malga ban, like I said, Headrunner, that's maybe the only success that this Shoes Production crew team has had this entire night, was back on that first point of Nepal where Headrunner was playing that Malga.
So maybe that's why they're going for Husky on the tank instead. Maybe there's something that they are really good at, right? Maybe it's the Sigma or something, the Zarya, whatever it is. That's like, I play one tank only. It's this character. All right, let's bring him out if we can. Headrammer, you can play Soldier or something, and we'll just see how that goes. Or, like you said, could be some hijinks going on in there. Headrammer, we've seen play a lot of Orisa as well. What do you think about Orisa on this map?
I mean, I think Orisa is just a fine tank on any map, really.
Sure.
I really do. I think she's a good, just all-around kind of stable tank at the moment, one that has a lot of sustainability, a lot of durability as well. But it looks like we will be seeing at least the role swap come out here from Shoes Production crew. That's going to be sticking. But right now, Unwoke Yaoi enthusiasts, I'm not going to talk about their comp because, yeah, that is one.
I don't even know how we begin to describe this. This is like a mega poke, like barricade comp or something. But okay, they're making their switches now, going to something more traditional. All right, this is what you like to see. I'm liking this comp a little bit more.
I would have called that the 2 a.m. Drunk Pugs comp. Coming out from them. But yeah, this is, like, again, Cloud11 has looked great on this Diva all night long. I really wouldn't expect anything else from them. It's going to be really interesting to see Husky and Headrunner, that swap. How well is it going to work for Shoes Production Group? Because now you're really banking this entire series on that, and you lose Dan early on.
An icicle lobotomy as it is a headshot from downtown. Wubs once again opening up the kill feed and everybody charging forward after that. Just pure clinical domination from this Unwoke Yaoi enthusiast side. They'll cap first.
Easily cap first here and start poking up a little bit. Again, like I said, it's going to be really interesting to see how this kind of swap goes for Shoes Production Group, but you cannot afford to lose anyone early on, because then we won't even know how much of a difference it is going to make here. But you're already see Husky pretty charged up. Got to be able to not get caught off by that ice wall. A huge play early on here.
Okay, just some defensive maneuvering, and that allows Wubs to kind of position themselves on the point, snipe some people if they can. Headrammer trying to go toe-to-toe, has to use the Ice Cube to heal up. Kitso finally dives into the back line, gets the Vendetta, and finds a kill. Cloud11 sees an opening, goes for the dive, but a nice bubble to save the back line here for now, but all the while, the percent's ticking up.
And not going to make it out alive as well. And Husky doesn't have the speed in those legs to be able to run away either.
No.
And really, with that one pick right there, I don't think you should shoot Duck Screw even attempt to get a touch here. I don't think it would necessarily be worth it. You'd just be throwing yourself onto the point just to really build up Unwoke Yaoi's ult economy right now. But I've been wrong in the past. But again, do you even try? And I don't think you're going to see an attempt come out here from them.
Nah, I wouldn't think so either. Just be in position to use the speed boost from the spawn to get to the next point, maybe earlier, and set up a good defense. Danik on the Tracer, gonna be a little sneaky here. Let's see if he can pester the back line to the best of his abilities. These teams are about to clash once again.
Yeah, but Unwoke Yaoi gonna have the ultimates here pretty early on, so they could go very, very quickly here, especially with that Kitsune Rush. Hippie kind of lagging behind in that one as they've been taken out early in these fights. But right now, Shoes Duck Screw holding on to that high ground, which is really what you want to be doing here, but you already see Cloudlemon trying to disrupt it.
Oh goodness, the dive looking to pay dividends, and it will be a chop down from Kidzo. He's pestering everybody, getting up close and personal. Can he find a third hunk and chunk? This Vendetta on a tear.
I think right now, if you're Shoes Duck Screw, you might have one more fight with this composition before you really have to go back to the drawing board, because it is just not working out here. And you look over at Unwoke Yaoi, all they used in that fight was the Kitsune Rush. They're going to have everything else ready to go. Yeah, Shoes Duck Screw is going to have 4 ultimates as well, so this could be a pretty heavy ult fight, but you have to find some value here early. You have to find something here early if you're Shoes Duck Screw, or else I really do think we're just going to see the exact same repeat of what last fight was.
Absolutely, friend, and this is gonna be close for sure. It will be a Kitsune Rush to start us off from Hippie, but the Blade does come through, and the Blizzard even better to create some space. Hippie, it's all they will do in this battle, as they are immediately found out. Danik sneaks his way into the backline, finds the main healer. They just need to find Cloudlemon, but he has the bomb to remech. He shoos everybody away. The ice wall just to delay the inevitable head rammer eliminated. Husky now trying to deadlift the team. We know this Russian has what it takes in Husky with a triple kill to turn the point. Oh no, he does. He dies at the end. Oh!
Cloudlemon will get back in that mech was such a big play right there for Unwoke Yaoi enthusiasts, and now what was looking to be a fight that could potentially turn Shoes' way just falls apart sadly there at the end. And a pretty heavy ult fight there for both teams. I mean, 3 ultimates came out there from Shoes, 4 came out there from, or 3 actually came out there from Unwoke Yaoi. Kicks are the only one that has an ultimate ready to go here with that Sundering Blade, but you look over at Shoes, the grab and the beat, those are your two fight winners here right now, and you have to make sure that Cloudlemon doesn't eat it, and maybe more importantly, we don't see an Ajax.
I believe one of their team sheets said something about them Ajaxing. Oh, and Husky gets walled off. He likes the cold, but not that much. Sent back to the spawn room doors. Cloudlemon, a blistering pace, diving each and every member of the opposite team. They are bullied off the point.
And knowing the lore of the Ajaxing joke, sadly, Bowsy's not here. The joke is whenever Bowsy Ajaxes, Shoes production crew goes on to win. Bowsy not in the lobby though at the moment, but still, because of that one fight there, you look over at Unwoke Yaoi. They have now the Sundering Blade, the Blizzard, the Consumers. They are in a good spot right now to really not have to worry about the grab and the beat from the other side.
Danik trying to get these off angles with the soldier. This is a nice switch from them, but found out now. The Graviton Surge put in, but look at the healing coming through with the Kitsune Rush. The ice wall to keep them alive, but only just to go tumbling down, but they haven't switched the point just yet. Cloudlemon trying to be Hercules out here, finding some more eliminations. Wubs, though, still pretty healthy. Clicking heads left and right, the wall sectioning them off, but Husky, the micro missiles take them down. Only 1 remain. It won't be for too much longer, and somehow, some way, Unwoke Yaoi enthusiasts hold once again 30-player kill streak for Cloud.
Yeah, Cloudlemon hasn't died. That was also an ace right there. They found all 5 members of Shoes Production Crew out. Now, who's your touch right now for Shoes Production Crew? Because this is the grand finals point right here. Someone has to get a touch to force overtime.
Oh, who is it gonna be? It's gotta be the soldier.
No,
nobody gets there. And G to the G for everybody. Unwoke Yaoi, they take it all.
Unwoke Yaoi getting some revenge for that week 2 loss against this Shoes Production Crew team, and they looked like a completely different team here. And I have to imagine from that week 2 performance, I imagine everyone on Shoes Production Crew would say the exact same thing, because they, on these final 2 maps, really looked unstoppable. You go back to Nepal, it was back and forth, but these last 2 maps, I mean, almost a full hold on Kings Row, quickly 3-0ing here on New Junk City. I mean, they looked like the best team here in this league.
Very clean with it. Ultimate economy, perfection. Target prioritization, clean. The way they rotated onto points, immaculate. Just A+ down the board. Shoes Production Crew, maybe we'll send them back over here to the booth. They know where A+ is over there behind the scenes or in front of the camera. Just kidding. Love you folks. Love you Hippie. Love you Headrammer and the rest. Good attempt here tonight for the grand finals, but not to be the case. Unwoke Yaoi, they will net themselves that extra win moving forward to the second half of the season.
Yeah, and hey, even with a loss here, Shoes Production Crew still does have that undefeated record going to the back half of the season, and they get 3 map victories or map points for this loss here. But again, the extra victory for Unwoke Yaoi Enthusiasts is going to help them out a lot, especially if they run the table now in the back half of the season. It could be something that really decides seeding more importantly. But we're going to throw it over to a quick break. When we come back, we're going to be interviewing 2 members of our champions here tonight of the Unwoke Yaoi Enthusiasts. So everyone, stick around. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, everybody, to the CGL Season 17 Mid-Season Tournament for the NA Masters Division. HD Philly B here with Dex, and we have some very special guests after this grand final match between Unwoke Yaoi Enthusiasts and Shoes Production Crew. We have Kids and Slaying from the Unwoke Yaoi Enthusiast here for an interview. My friends, how you feeling after that victory?
Pretty good. Can't complain. It was a better series than I thought it was going to be. So.
Yeah, same here, to be honest. I thought it was going to be a lot different considering our last match, but it seemed to go pretty well.
All right, wonderful to hear. Yeah, it was a very emphatic win. It was some good retribution from your 2-3 loss back in week 2, so I'm sure that feels pretty nice.
Yeah, it definitely feels good. I think week 2 we were a little flustered, and we also didn't have a chance to play with Kizzo and Wubs at the same time, so our lineups were a little bit different. But I think regardless, they're a good team. I was just surprised that we came up on top as close as we, or as much of a blowout as we did. Because, I mean, Shoes is a really good team, in my opinion, and I'm kind of surprised, but I think we played well today, and that's what matters.
For sure. Dex?
Yeah, I mean, it was surprising us as well, just how good you guys are doing, because we were talking about it before we went live, and then especially when we went live, saying like, hey, these 2 teams went 5 last time. We probably expect that here tonight. But I mean, especially for you, Slaying, as being the coach of this team, you talked about your DPS line there, but it seemed like everyone else was just playing so in sync tonight. Is this the first time that you've actually been able to see this whole team maybe be put together like this, or play as good as they did tonight?
We've had a couple scrims throughout the weeks with our starters, and I've always thought we had looked pretty solid. Just a shout out to my whole team in general. We've been working really hard in scrims. We've been adjusting to issues we've had with rotations and our comm structure, and honestly, they've improved from the first week we've ever met together to now, and it's nice to see as a coach that improvement, especially from so many talented players. Honestly.
Absolutely. And Kixo, for you, I mean, you and your DPS teammate or DPS partner right there, Wubs. It seemed like you guys just had this freedom throughout this entire series, and I imagine a lot of that comes down to your support line, and especially Cloudlum in that final map. We saw there for a brief moment a 30 kill streak for them. I mean, with this lineup you had here tonight, do you feel that freedom there to just be able to kind of do almost whatever you want and seem like almost get away with it a lot of the time as well?
Yeah, of course. I kind of always try to play, I guess, like as a distraction. And a lot of teams tend to like hyper focus on me while like Wubs does a lot of damage. And then I'm just allowed to do that because my supports are like so confident in like keeping me alive. So it feels great. I can kind of just go wherever I want, and I know I'll probably be kept alive.
Makes sense to me. Well, kid, so I kind of want to stick with you here. Playing a number of DPS characters throughout that series, but you finally put the hatchet in the ground with the Vendetta on the Junkertown map. What's your favorite part about playing the Gladiator?
Honestly, I love her vertical. Her vertical just feels amazing. I can kind of just do like a sneak attack from the sky and just blow someone up. She's honestly my favorite character right now, just because of like she just has so much burst, and like you kind of have to focus her, or she's just allowed to like do whatever she wants.
Yeah, that distraction style that you said you were playing then facilitates Wubs and Cloud to do the things that they need to do to pump the damage numbers. So I love to see all the gears turning in tandem. But while we have you out on stream, Kitso, we'll start with you. Who would you like to shout out?
I want to shout out my supports. I love my supports, K4 and N. They're amazing. I want to shout out Wubs. I appreciate the high damage you put out. And then, of course, my tank Clouds, who allows us to just continue to move forward. They're amazing. My whole team's amazing.
Love to hear it. And then Slang, who would you like to shout out?
Well, he already covered the team, so I'm not going to give him too much glaze. But I'll real shout out the CGL staff in general. I think everyone has put in a lot of work towards this tournament, and it's very obvious to me and to Headrammer, who work with them daily, that they care, and we want to be a part of the community more and be more connected with you guys. So shout out to our community, and also shout out to the staff who are taking care of everything. You guys are doing an awesome job so far.
Well, thank you very much, Slang. We appreciate that. And we thank you both for joining us for this wonderful interview, giving us some of the insights into your team mentality and what you have going forward. So congratulations once again, and we'll see you on the second half of the season.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Alrighty.
Thank you.
Well, Dex, that's going to conclude it for us. Is there anyone you want to shout out? We're just giving everybody shout outs here. I'm going to toss it to you.
Yeah, good. Again, I think we need to shout out MI Blizzard and June for the production work behind the scenes here tonight. But they did a lot throughout this entire season, and everyone else who kind of helped with production throughout the entirety of the midseason here. Get these streams online. Again, we had a lot of EU games, a lot of NA games. We had some South American games as well. But shout out to Senju Corp for that, and William Mundy, because they're normally the ones that do that for South American stuff. But again, midseason now is done. I believe this is our last broadcast of the midseason. There might still be one grand finals going on a little bit later tonight. It's not going to be streamed as far as I know, or I might just be gaslighting everyone right now. But again, you now turn away from the midseason to the back half of the season as well. What teams are going to stay hot? What teams could potentially fall off? That's going to be something very, very important, especially here in this Masters tier. A lot of teams in this one just barely missed out on making it to the midseason. You have to imagine those same teams that barely missed out on making it to this time around are going to try to make sure they're not barely missing out for the end of season playoffs.
So folks, you know what you gotta do. If you haven't followed us already, make sure you hit that follow button. Make sure you join the Discord so you don't miss a single match from any tier and any region. CGL is where you want to be for all Overwatch community action from HD Philly B, from Dex, from the rest of the production crew. We'll see you next time.
Bye.